Here's the start of my workout. So this is the template I would typically use for my heavy bench day. So I train my bench twice a week, and the other day is focused more on chest growth. So I use kind of a pre-exhaust method to repair old tears related to some bad benching form and kind of crap luck injuries from when I was younger. So I've broken my collarbone on my right side 3 times. I've torn some tissues and stuff in my shoulders when I was younger playing football and whatnot. So there's just a lot of damage that is related to a delay in chest growth. So that's why my second day of the week is focused on chest growth. So here you can see the warm-up I do, that is for both days, is a warm-up to get blood flow into my shoulders. So it's intended for the shoulders and the upper back, but really try to get the rotator cuffs and the shoulders pumped full of blood. And this helps me kind of repair the old injuries, get blood flow into them, and then also just helps to tighten up the shoulder joint for heavy bench pressing. So I feel whenever I have a lot of blood flow in my shoulders and my shoulders are pumped, I can then, when I unrack really heavy weights, feel much better braced and stabilized against those weights. So it gives me much more confidence and much more control than if I were to skip getting the pump in my shoulders. So I'll typically use variations. You can see here I'm doing our ski erg by the Concept 2 rower, and I'm doing reverse flies. So that is really good for getting a lot of blood flow into the upper back and shoulders. And then I'm doing a seated row on our rower machine. So we have a special attachment that allows us to put on any handles we want on our Concept 2 rower. So I have just kind of like long strap D-rings, and I'm playing around with different hand angles to target different spots of my shoulders. So you'll see I do kind of a neutral grip, underhand and overhand. I kind of bring my elbows up, bring my elbows down. The whole goal is just getting a lot of blood flow into the shoulders and upper back, and if anything feels sticky, just get it moving and freed up for the day. So this is a typical example of a warm-up, just a lot of blood flow, no inflammation, not really looking for damage, just getting everything warmed up and ready to go for the big bench presses. So here you can see the warm-ups that I do when I go into my benching. So after the shoulder stuff to get blood flow into the shoulders, I'll then superset some upper back work with my bench warm-ups. So typically when you're warming up for bench, you have a lot of sets to get to the heavy stuff, and there's really no point standing around doing nothing in between those sets. So I like to put in some extra back work. And specifically why I choose to put back work in there is that by having the back pumped up and already kind of sensitized from the exercises, it helps me with awareness of back tightness during my bench press. So I'm more aware if my shoulder blades are pinned together and down while I'm benching. So that helps with performance and safety. And then also, by having your back pumped up at the same time you're pumping the front side of your body, it alleviates stress and pain in the AC joint. So often people will complain about having AC joint pain, which is pain in the front of your shoulder, either during benching or the day after benching. So by pumping up your back at the same time you do bench, it helps alleviate that imbalance of tightness, which can ease the stress of the AC joint. And then also this just helps you get extra kind of bodybuilding volume in. So typically I'll do 3 to 5 sets of back work, and I'll alternate between shrugs, rows, and pull-ups or pull-downs, whatever I feel like on that day. And I'll typically aim for sets of anywhere from 20 to 60 seconds. And again, it just kind of depends on how I feel that day. Some days I'll go more aggressive if I feel like I have the energy and the mindset. Some days I'll go slower and get more of a pump and kind of like a squeeze feel if that's what I'm in the mood for that day. So I leave it kind of open to each day's interpretation. But within 20 to 60 seconds of time frame, I know I'm always going to get some type of muscular development. So I'm going to get the benefit of technique, improvement during bench. I'm going to get the benefit of lessened pains and annoyances and get the extra muscle mass. So that's typically what I do during my bench warm-ups, is supersetting some back work. Again, it's shrugs, rows, or pull-ups or pull-downs, whatever I feel like that day. And now you can see in the workout, I've moved to the heavier kind of working sets for the day. So again, this was a max effort bench day. And what I'm doing here is reverse banding. So my dad and I actually made the bench press that I'm on, and it has the top bar supports for reverse banding. And I personally love the benefits of reverse banding. It allows you to handle heavier weights in training than what you can do if you weren't to have the reverse banding. That allows you an overload in your stability muscles and can actually help you kind of get a better tightness in your position and overall technique because of the increased pressure. And what I mean by that is when you unrack the weight, we have the machine set specifically for my height because I was the one who made it. So when I unrack the weight, the bands are very loosely on the bar. So I'm pretty much feeling exactly what you see on the bar in terms of weight-wise. Then as I would lower the weight, the bands stretch and they take some of the weight off the bar. The different colors of bands equate to different levels of assistance. So it depends on whether you want minor assistance versus very large assistance. So in this one, I'm picking what I would typically use as my kind of medium type assistance. And my goal with this is it allows me to still have a type of movement that overloads the stability muscles. So in a sense, like I'm unracking a weight, and due to the assistance of the bands, I might be able to hold that weight for say 8 to 10 reps, where without the bands, I can only do 4 to 6. So it's extending your time under tension under that weight load. That's going to create that increased stimulus in terms of intensity into the supporting muscles. So your shoulders and like your technique overall, body tightness and support has to stabilize a heavier weight for longer than normal. That increases its kind of intensity or need to change to the stimulus above normal workouts. So therefore you can get a greater degree of adaptation in those factors. You're still getting good development of physical strength in your pushing muscles, such as the triceps, chest, front delts, but you're getting an even greater stimulus now in the supporting muscles, such as the shoulders, the lats, even your glutes have to hold you in a bench press. So it allows the stability muscles and the stabilizing muscles to be maximally trained as well. So that's the benefits of reverse banding, and I will use that typically in every type of max effort bench for me. Especially given my past history of shoulder injuries, this allows me to rebuild my shoulders to a faster degree. So the strongest I was before after most of my injuries was a 365-pound bench press. So even though I have torn my pecs a few times, I broke my collarbone a couple times, had to have surgery on it, tore up a bunch of stuff in my shoulders, I'm still up to a max of 430. So I've been able to add 65 pounds above my normal strength, even in spite of all those injuries being present. So it was very, very helpful. And in this workout, you can see I'm just kind of doing an intensity ladder where I start at a lighter weight with a lot of reps, say 10 reps, add a little bit of weight, do 8 reps, then I'd add weight, do 6, add weight, do 4, add weight, do 2, then add weight and do a single. So over time, I'll drop off some of the volume, add up the intensity to a peak, and then I'll restart the ladder. So that's the idea behind what I chose for my max effort work. After benching, I typically do accessory work related to chest growth, triceps, biceps, and shoulders. And typically for shoulders, it's middle delt. So here you can see me doing floor flies for the chest. I love these, especially with anybody who's had chest injuries, because you don't have the risk of overstretching because the floor will stop you. And if you get into trouble at the bottom, you can just kind of tilt the dumbbells forward and let go. So it's a very good controlled way to get into the chest. And especially if somebody has old injuries or old tears, it's a good way to find those tears and get the tissue working again, and then also get a sensation of feeling balanced from side to side. So that's one of my favorite exercises for the chest. I'll also do various flies on benches at different inclines, cable flies, and sometimes I'll pick dips as kind of a tricep and chest combo. So you then see me moving to dumbbell rolling tricep extensions. So these are a more looser form of doing skull crushers. So it just allows a little bit of momentum to handle a little bit of heavier weight. And I like using these in combination because I typically go lighter on the flies to be safe on my chest. And then that ends up being a really good weight typically for a nice heavy kind of skull crusher motion. So again, for triceps, sometimes I'll pick dips, sometimes I'll pick cable press downs. Just kind of depends on whatever I feel like at that time. So I'll often change the accessory exercises from week to week. Sometimes if I like one, I'll keep it for 2 or 3 weeks in a row and try to make progression progressions in volume or weight, depending on whether I'm working for muscle size or muscle strength in relation to that specific exercise. Then I have a combination of dumbbell lateral raises and alternating hammer curls. So again, this is just working on the middle delt and also getting some bicep training in there as well. So having strong chest obviously is going to help for the weight down on a bench press control, but also so does strong biceps. So all of these exercises are related to making my bench press stronger, but they also help for aesthetics. So I always like combining bodybuilding and strength training when I can. So this is my typical bench format for my heavy bench day.